Got the quick facts for Lamar. Starters returning, got 8 on offense, 9 on defense, 4 special teamers. Last year, 2-9 overall, so some work to do this year. Season opener, September 1st, Kentucky Christian, followed by the Southland Conference opener. A couple of weeks later, the Cardinals welcome Northwestern State to Beaumont for the conference opener. And the quarterback, Darryl Colbert, returns from an injury-shortened 2017 campaign. We're going to talk about that and much more about these Lamar Cardinals as they get ready for the 2018 campaign. Pleasure to be joined here on stage by their head coach, Mike Schultz. Mike, welcome back to Houston. Another media day, another football season has arrived. I know you have some opening remarks on how the spring went and some thoughts on the new season ahead.
Well, first I want to start off thanking Tom Burnett and the Southland Conference. This is an incredible event that they host every year, and it's a way to give much-needed recognition to the players in the Southland Conference, both in the classroom and on the field. So he really does a great job. It's an exciting time to be at Lamar football right now. We just hired a new athletic director, Mark O'Born from Louisiana Tech University. He has really come in and energized the athletic department and the community. I really am looking forward to working with him in the future and the things that I think that we can get accomplished as a team. You know, we're really excited about the year. I keep checking the weather chart every day to see if anything's happening in the Gulf as far as hurricanes. But that's something that we'll probably end up talking about a little bit later. We had a nice spring. Our kids have done a nice job. They've really bought into what we're trying to do, the culture change that we're trying to take place within the athletic or the football team with our student athletes. And they did a nice job in the spring. They've done a nice job this summer. This is one of the things that Mark O'Born has done for us. This is the first time, I think, maybe in Lamar's history that we've been able to bring our kids in for both summer sessions, summer 1, summer 2, and then the long session, summer 3, which starts at the beginning of the summer and doesn't end until August. But we've had our athletes in, and it's a great opportunity for them to make progress toward their degree, along with the ability for us to train them on campus. So that's been a big difference. Our kids have really done a great job this summer in handling that. So we're really looking forward to the year, and, you know, we're ready to get going. I'm going to open it up for questions from there.
If you have any questions for Coach, you know the procedure, raise your hand, state your name and affiliation. We'll get that process going, and eventually, in a few minutes, we'll get over to Lincoln, standing by with a couple of Cardinal players. We'll begin right here up front, green shirt.
Mike Tobias, Bowman Enterprise. Let's get this out of the way right quick. How much stock do you put into the preseason poll, Coach?
Well, you know, the one thing I'll tell you about the Southland Conference is there's a tremendous amount of parity from top to bottom. I mean, it's just not that, you know, a few things that, a few injuries, and you're not going to be as good as what you were at the beginning. You know, the ball bounces funny sometimes. It's just, there's just a tremendous amount of parity. I think that's the great thing about the Southland Conference. I don't think there's, you know, a lot from the top to the bottom. You know what, I think we're 11th. We're fine with that. That's great. That's where we probably deserve to be, you know, right now. You know, you got to base it off of a 2-9 season. You know, I'm going to be accountable for that. We'll move forward.
Okay. We talked a little bit last year about the little things and being accountable for yourself on the field and some mental mistakes going on. How much have you emphasized in the offseason to your players that the little things matter?
You know, of course, that's something that we build the program off of. You know, we talk about being selfless players, and selfless with the big quote on the less. You know, put the team first. Be accountable to your teammates, not only accountable to yourself, but accountable to your teammates. And if we can get that accountability through, that permeates through our team, and we have a esprit de corps that I think that we can get going, and that chemistry that we're trying to fight to get, and if we can get those things accomplished in camp, we'll really be excited about where we are going into the first game.
There was a stretch of 7 games last year that you dropped. There was a few in there that could have gone either way, you know, with just a big play at the end against Incarnate Word and whatnot. Is there anything you're looking forward to about maybe just swaying it your way this year?
You know, right now we're just let's just get to camp. Let's get to camp, get going. I think all those things are work themselves out. I mean, you're right. We were close in a couple of games. They could have gone either way, and that's good to know. But, I'm more concerned about let's get through camp. I think you got to really take a really hard look at how you approach camp as far as contact, how much contact you have now when you pull off, how much hitting you actually, like I said, how much hitting you actually do. And because one thing I want to do is I want to get to Kentucky Christian with everybody healthy.
Coach, Harold Mann, KLVI Radio, Lamar Radio. Last year we saw the development of true freshman running back Miles Wanza. With a much improved offensive line this year, what can we expect from Miles?
Well, I hope a lot of good things. Truthfully, Miles is, needless to say, comes in as our starting tailback. The things that make Miles Wanza really special is how his commitment is in the academically, going to class, taking care of his academics, the way he works in the weight room. He's a quiet kid. He doesn't talk a lot. He says about 2 words every 2 months, and it's usually yes, sir. And, so it's a kind of kid that you can really, bring in and you like to coach and you like to be around. And on top of that, he's really done a nice job in the offseason. He's put on weight. He's gone from about 173, 174 to 180. He's topping over the 180 mark, 183. And the next thing, some of that is contributed to some of the things we're doing nutrition-wise at Lamar that we have not done in the past. So, Miles Wanza, like I said, is a great kid.
Coach, I see Morrell, Port Arthur News. From the time you took over the position as head football coach going through last season, what are some of the things that took you by surprise about last season?
I don't want to say it was by surprise. I'd like to sit in here and listen to the other coaches, see what they have to say. I heard Frank Selfo say that, this is going to be great for him to go through, and the one thing he did not know about was the team and the competition at this level. I feel him on that. I understand his thoughts and where he is on that because I was at the same place exactly this time last year. I'm not there anymore. I understand what this league has, how good this league is, the competition in this league, the type of athletes are in this league, along with the coaching staffs that are in this league, and they're all good. I mean, there's great competition, there's great players, there's great coaching staff. You're not going to walk in here and out-coach anybody. You're not only going to have to coach hard, you're going to have to compete hard, your players are going to have to play well, and that, my friend, only gives you your best opportunity to win.
Is still your number one guy at quarterback, but what steps has he taken or must he take to be really the difference maker you're looking for him to be a quarterback?
Daryl had a really nice spring. If I had to sit here and say one of the players that really came out of spring farther along than what I thought he would be, Daryl would be one of them. We had several that fit into that category, but Daryl would be one of them. Daryl just needs to keep working. That's all he does. He just needs to keep working. He needs to keep, handling the things that he's doing on a daily basis, coming in on his own, on his free time, watching film, studying film. He's done a nice job of that, and he just needs to continue in that area, and Daryl will be okay.
Question on the far left side here.
Paul Taylor, Hanson Broadcasting. Coach, with the new NCAA ruling on red shirts, 4 games, how do you feel like this is going to impact you and your team?
That's a great rule as far as I'm concerned. It's a win-win situation. You can actually get into the situation where the last 4 games of the year, if you needed to play a freshman or a kid you were trying to redshirt, you could do it and still have 4 years or 5, whatever he has left to play. I really like that. It's a rule that I think most coaches will embrace. I think it's a win for the players, too. A lot of times when you bring a true freshman in, it's not the athletic ability that keeps them from playing, it's the knowledge. Well, now you're going to put those kids that they can go through 6 or 7 games, learn the offense. There's been a lot of times on a lot of teams that I've been on that we've had players that were ready to play toward the end of the year, but you kind of, no, we've redshirted him now 6 games or 7 games. We surely don't need to put him in. Well, that situation's not going to be in place anymore. You're going to be able to look at him. If you've handled it right, you're going to be able to put him in the last 4 games or, I think it's going to help with injuries. You know, if you get a kid that you counted on to start it for 6 games and you have a younger kid coming on by the end of the season, he may be able to step in and help you close out the season. So I think it's a win-win. It's a win for the kids and it's a win for the coaches.
Question right here in the middle.
Coach Robert Kelly, Texport Publications. Your first road trip to Lubbock, Texas Tech. Next week you kick off conference play. Can you speak a little bit about that? How it's going to lead into your conference?
You know, Texas Tech is going to be a great barometer where we are as a football team. You know, our first 2 games will have that effect on us. We open up with Kentucky Christian, make no doubt about it. That's a team that we're taking very seriously. That's the first team on our schedule, and right now that is the most important game we're playing, okay? I've told our kids there is no Texas Tech until we get through Kentucky Kirsten. Once we get in there, needless to say, we're going to Jones Stadium. I've been there several times before, and through my career, it's a tough place to play. I'll tell the kids, you know, we'll have to work on solid snap count a little bit more that week, those type of things. But it's a tough place to play, and it will be a great barometer of where we are athletically and as a football team. We come back, we open up with Northwestern. I'll tell you this, if you don't get ready to play every week in the Southland Conference, you put yourself in a position to lose. It's that good. It's that they're well coached. Players are developed. If you don't put yourself, if you don't get ready, if you don't take every game serious in the Southwest Conference, you go into that game and you put yourself behind the 8 ball and you put yourself in position to lose the football game. So from there we go forward.
Question in the back, Chris.
Well, you know, let's just speak on that for a moment. I just talked about players returning. Last year when we went into camp in August, we had 57 new faces on our football team. I've been doing this 37 years. I have never gone into a camp with 57 new faces on a football team. This year it goes the opposite. We have 49 returning players. We have kids coming back that have been there, that understand this, what it takes, what we have to do, how well we have to prepare every week. The kickers, the punters, the deep snappers are all in that. They all understand it, and that's a good thing going into the season. Whether that means we're going to win a bunch more games or not, that's yet to be seen. We are optimistic.
If you have questions, raise your hand. I got one for you, Coach. The heart of your defense is back, and you talk about guys returning with experience. How exciting is that to you? The way you guys finished defensively, record aside, last 2 to 3 weeks of the season, the defense really turned the corner last year.
You know, you're right. We got better as the season went on defensively. I've said this story many times. I've sat on the sideline and I looked out on our defense and I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 true freshmen that were on the football field at one time playing together. They're not going to be true freshmen anymore. So, you know, as the season went, as we progressed through the season, you saw those guys get better and better. You know, it's hard to put a true freshman as an inside player against a 300-pound, and some of these guys from Central Arkansas, what they were rolling off the ball, and we were, you know, fighting and working. Keep your pad level down, give yourself a chance to win. And, you know, as we went through the season, you know, their pad level started coming down, and when the pad level came down, better things happened for us.
Special teams as well, pretty impressive. You return your kicker, your punter. You also have your top 2 kickoff returners, punt returners. So again, it goes to the depth now that you're starting to build.
You know, I don't think you'll ever have a Division I coach, FBS or FCS, sit out there and say, hey, we're ready, we got all the depth we need. Okay, we don't. we still want more. Yeah. I just know right now, where we are right now compared to where we were last year at this time as far as depth, it's like night and day. And I'm not even too sure if that's a good enough deal to compare it to. So we're excited, and we're really looking forward to our kids, and our student athletes are ready to go, and we're looking forward to the 2018 season.
Do you sense that from the kids as well? Record aside, does that even come up much, or is it more about, hey guys, let's just improve, let's focus, find the areas that we need to improve in, and take that next step there? Don't worry about the record from a year ago.
I think our kids take their spin from our staff. And, of course, our staff usually takes their spin from me. I think we go into this season very grounded. You know, we understand what we have to do, what we need to do. to put ourselves in a position to win football games. I've said this many times to our staff, I mean, in our team. This is one of the key messages that our staff conveys to our team. You've got to do everything you can do during the week, everything you can do in preparation. You've got to dot every I, cross every T, and all that does is give you your best opportunity to win football games. It guarantees nothing. Our kids believe that. I've seen it in their commitment in the weight room, the way they work this summer. I have a council or a group of kids that I talk to that's kind of the voice of the team right now, and you ask those kids, compare last summer to this year, and they just shake their head. Coach, there is no comparison. So, like I said, we're at a place we're excited. Let's go.
There you go. All right, another question at the back, Chris.
I want to talk about your scheduling philosophy with Kentucky Christian being first. A lot of teams in the Southland start their season with their big money game at a Power 5 school. You get to start with a Kentucky Christian team that, while recognizing they're still college student athletes who are going to fight to the very last breath, it may be a little bit of an easier task than some of the other teams on your schedule. But you maybe get some confidence going after that first game with Kentucky Christian.
Well, yeah, let's hope so. We have hope that we will be able to go into that football game and compete and put ourselves in a position to win. Let me tell you something. I'm an old school guy, okay? The first thing we got to handle is Kentucky Christian. That's it. Nothing else matters. And I'm not going to go past those guys. I've been doing this. I've been doing this too long. I've been on teams that weren't supposed to win, and we've rolled into stadiums that hold 90,000, and we've beaten people. So I understand the first game we have to win is Kentucky Christian. Hopefully, through that game, we'll come out with some confidence, which will help us in the second game. But right now, let's just get by Kentucky Christian, handle that, and take it 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time.
All right, any other questions for Coach? I'll chat with you a few minutes here in just a couple moments after we hear from Lincoln and the players over there just to your left. Right now, let's toss it to Lincoln, standing by with a couple of special players, student athletes from Lamar. Lincoln?
Yeah, Randy, two of the many familiar faces returning this year for Coach Schultz's second season. Garrett Bowery on the offensive line, another senior in Chasten Brooks. Chasten, today there's been a subtle theme of players here representing their schools after last year being asked to switch to a new position for many for the first time, and yet obviously it is paying off for players who are doing what their coaches believe has been best for the team. It turned out quite well for you. You signed as a defensive back coming out of high school, Tatum here in Texas. You shift over to linebacker. You're dealing with a new coaching staff last year, a new position. How'd you make it all work?
I stayed in the film room, and I just kept talking to my coaches, and they kept guiding me throughout. And it was a hard process from the beginning, but then my teammates helped me and my coaches helped me, and I just stayed in the study room and the field room.
What is the biggest adjustment moving up closer to the line?
Having contact every play. Because at DB, you really don't have a lot of contact, like every single play. But at linebacker, you got to read your guards, you're reading the tackles, and you're just in there every play.
Does it frustrate you when you go up against offensive linemen on the other side who have clearly bulked up in the offseason?
I wouldn't say it's frustrating, but it's football.
We're talking about Garrett Bowery in this offensive line. Last year, y'all averaged about 287. This year, up to 304. We'll be clear, if you shift this talking about my weight, I'm getting up and I'm leaving. But I have the ability to talk to you about y'all's weight. You all have gotten bigger in the weight room, looking for results during the season. But one thing you don't weigh on the scale, one thing you don't measure on the scale is the mental toughness. I know that's a big thing for you.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the heat coming down in Southeast Texas. But we just want to work together, too. So getting stronger is one way we can help each other. Because as offensive linemen, you're working together a lot throughout the season. So just getting stronger, getting faster, and mentally preparing for every single week.
Obviously, you're a couple years removed now from being one of the more dominating rushing offenses in the country, let alone here in the Southland Conference. How do you all get back on track, both helping your quarterback and your running backs gain confidence?
Well, like I just said, just make sure you keep working every week. Film helps a lot, But yeah, I think getting 20 pounds of weight really helps us push forward to give Mile and Randall some room to run, and along with giving our quarterback some room to throw the ball. So I think he'll have time. I think our running backs will have room, and that's all you can ask for.
Justin, I know when you signed several years back now, you had some goals that before you left Beaumont you wanted to accomplish. You and this senior class seem to be still pretty tight and still mindful of wanting to check off a lot of those goals.
I'm really excited to play with these guys that I came in with, and the newer guys too. And it's going to be fun this year. I'm really looking forward to it.
Garrett, it'd be easy to say a successful season is maybe just a couple more wins in the win column. I know you're not a big fan of just baby steps. You have a bigger picture in mind.
Everybody on our team has a bigger picture, but I'm going to reiterate what Coach said, one game at a time. He told us many times that if we go into a game, give it everything we have, that you can't be upset. If you leave the game knowing you have something left to give, that's when you're upset. That's when you attack yourself. Go out there every week, give everything you have, and I think the schedule and the scoreboard will shoot in our favor a little bit.
Do you sense that first game of the season is getting closer and closer?
Oh, we can't wait, man. It's right around the corner.
Where in this final month now getting ready, where can you still improve?
All of us can still improve. I would say at this point it's mentally. We need to start getting into the video room, start watching film, because we've been working hard since January for our bodies. So I think our bodies are ready. I mean, we're still conditioned. It's hot, like I said, but yes, film would be a key area we all need to start getting ready for.
Do you notice the difference now? The coaching staff last year there would have been more question marks, so you're still getting to know one another. This time around, you recognize more teammates as more have returned from last year's season, and just what that allows you all to do in an off season beyond just getting to know one another.
It's been lovely just having just comfort with these coaches. I've been here 4 years now, and this is the first year where I get to stay with the coaches and stay with the same defense for 2 years now. So it's very comforting.
What's it been like at the college level, just focusing on one sport? I know back at Tatum, you suited up for just about every sport you could throughout the year. There were times when you would run track and then a coach had to get you in the car, and probably while they're announcing anthem and lineups, you're getting over to the baseball diamond just in time.
Focusing on one sport is in college, and then with class and just being a student athlete, one sport is good. It's enough.
Again, Southland Conference, once you do get into conference play, always a battle. Ultimately, when you look back at your senior years, for each of you, what individually will be a successful career, and what as a team will be a successful accomplishment?
I don't think in football there can be really any individual awards. I think even if you do get an award, everybody along the way helped you, and that's all you can ask. So we all just need to go out and play for each other this year, and that's, at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for.
I look forward to winning with these guys. That's all I can look forward to. Put a ring on our finger.
Right before we came back from break, Chasten said, "Do I still have time to send a text to my mom?"
I was trying to.
You've been calling once a week. What are the rules there while you've been in college of still keeping in touch?
Try to mostly every other day, and she calls me all the time, and I like talking to her.
Randy, I think for the first time we have heard somebody in the Southland say that the off-season workouts have been lovely.
Hey, you could see the confidence coming out of these guys. There's a belief, and they've talked about it, comparing last summer to this summer and where this team is. And as a head coach, how does that make you feel knowing these guys are buying in, they're putting in the work, and now you want some results out of it?
Well, I credit that a lot to our staff. They've done a great job. I think our kids have bought into the message they're sending.
Just doing some research, preparing for today, reading a little bit about your off season, the Night of Champions. Talk a little bit about that. You got good results out of that. A lot of records fell, but you put the work in there, and it pays off hopefully in the fall.
Yeah, absolutely. The Night of Champions is a deal where we take our weights and put them in the stadium, and our kids lift in front of people that come and come to the stadium to look at them, and it's a big deal. We had a lot of kids test. I think Darren Wilson, our starting nose guard, one of the guys that's going to play inside for us, bench press a record for the school, which was 465 pounds. So, that's something we didn't have last year at this time.
Talk a little bit more, if you can, about, especially coming out of the spring, your quarterback situation with Colbert. He's your leader, but you've got pretty good competition. Talk about how that, or you expect that to play out.
Well, you know, the two right now at the top are Daryl Colbert and Jordan Hoy. Jordan Hoy is a transfer that comes to us. He started in a junior college out in the West Coast, and he is coming in as a transfer. But Daryl Colbert has really come in, and there's no doubt right now he's separated himself athletically, knowing the offense. And, you know, it's year two for Daryl. I mean, you know, yeah, people don't realize, and I know he was an SMU transfer, but, you know, Daryl hadn't played a lot until he got to us last year. And I think that year that he's had underneath his belt has built a lot of confidence in him, and he feels good where we are offensively. He knows the offense. He understands the offense. And those are all good things when you're talking about a quarterback. So we feel good. And then Jordan Hoy's come in. He's extremely athletic, extremely fast. He can move. He can run. He can throw the ball. You know, the good feeling I've got, and we got to get Jordan along just a little bit farther in understanding the offense. He's only had 15 practices with us, but I think he'll make great steps in camp. And the good news, I think, by the end of camp, that we'll feel really good about our first and second team quarterback.
All right, let's talk about the upcoming schedule. You touched on it briefly during your opening remarks. Let's dive into it a little bit more. Kentucky Christian, to get things going, and Chris, and somebody asked you a question, just that first week, hopefully get good results, get that confidence going. And just talk about what it means to then go on the road, play a team like Texas Tech, and you've got conference play as well following that.
Well, you know, it's a great experience for our student athletes. I mean, to go to Jones Stadium, to play there, like I said, I've played there many times before. Coached there many times before. But, I mean, it'll be loud, it will be wild, and you know, believe me, they'll have guns up. But it'll be a great experience for our kids. And again, the thing it will do, it will be a great barometer for our football team to see where we are. And, you know, when we come out of that game, let's take a hard look and reevaluate what we're doing and what direction we need to go.
What's it mean to get those first couple of conference games at home? Northwestern State, Southeastern Louisiana, then you got to go add Nichols. But you get two at home to open conference.
Well, it's great to have two home games. There's no doubt about that. We're excited about those. We're excited about playing those guys at home. Two tough opponents, you know, two new coaches. And but I know Frank Selfa, he'll do a great job at Southeast. There's no doubt about it. You know, he was sitting up there. He said, I know some of these guys for 25 years. I'm one of them. So, I mean, and they'll do. I mean, in Northwestern's always tough. We've always had problems with them in the past. We'll have to get ready to go. We'll have to have all our I's dotted, all our T's crossed, and we'll have to be ready to play that football game.
So much parity in this league.
You bet.
You saw that a year ago.
There's no doubt. Like I said, I mean, Frank sat up here and talked about he didn't know the league. I feel pretty well entrenched in the league. I understand what this league is about, the type of caliber of the teams that are in this league, the coaching that goes on. I have a very good grasp on where this league is.
Well, best of luck this season. You guys will get going here pretty soon with practice and the opener with Kentucky Christian. Mike Schultz, head coach of the Lamar Cardinals. Appreciate it, man.